Today, we are really immersing ourselves in the transcripts and source material covering what is just an explosive 47th episode of the Kuma series.
The characters are just repeatedly forced into these impossible choices where, and this is a quote from the source notes, every path seems to lead to destruction.
So we're going to examine 3 different types of that emotional control.
We are. And we should probably start with the most externally violent one.
The most devastating conflict for sure. The one the sources call the most shocking. That's the ruthless clash between Ceylan, Karan, and 𝐀𝐁𝐿.
The antagonist who just defines relentless vengeance.
She really does.
And this story, it has reached a catastrophic point of no return. 𝐀𝐁𝐿 has prepared what the transcripts show is very carefully constructed false evidence.
Documents, right. Designed specifically
to ensure Karan is sent to jail. Immediately.
So this isn't some vague threat of something happening down the line.
No, it's an immediate execution of a plan, which turns it into this high-stakes psychological war with a ruthless ticking clock.
And Ceylan gets only 2 hours.
Just 2 hours to make an impossible choice. Save Karan from immediate prison time, or
lose him forever.
And the cruelty is so layered, because the demand goes way beyond just, physical separation.
Right. It's not enough for her to just disappear.
No. 𝐀𝐁𝐿's explicit instruction is that Ceylan has to orchestrate the breakup in a way that makes Karan believe she never loved him. The goal is to destroy the memory of their relationship.
It's about his complete emotional destruction.
It is. Let's really focus on the mechanics of that, because the writing is so precise about this emotional cruelty. Ceylan is forced to record a video.
The video, right, where she has to say she's leaving on her own free will.
Cold-heartedly, so that Karan never, ever wastes a moment looking for her. The instruction is to act with cold blood to, and this is another quote, kill the soul.
And we have to look at 𝐀𝐁𝐿's motivation here, because it's just the definition of toxic love.
Completely. She justifies all this monstrous manipulation in the name of revenge for her son, the son she believes Ceylan killed.
So in her warped view, destroying Karan's happiness is actually what? Saving him.
Yes, it's freeing him from this lowly woman. It's a really profound and toxic form of disguised maternal love. She thinks she is saving him by destroying the one thing he loves.
And the tragedy is just amplified for the audience because we see the juxtaposition.
Oh, agonizing.
While Ceylan is being forced to do all this, the transcripts show Karan in their last meeting, and he's talking about their future.
A boat trip, dreams about a child.
Yeah.
He has absolutely no idea. Total ignorance.
Which just sharpens the tragedy. The contrast between their 2 realities at that moment is painful.
It is. We read Ceylan's internal dialogue, and it's full of this pain. She's asking herself, how can I leave you, Karan? How will our son leave you?
Her sacrifice saves him from jail, short term. But let's talk about the ultimate piece of this, the real narrative genius here.
The deception within a deception.
That's the detail about Seema, isn't it? The truly hidden agenda.
Exactly. Ceylan thinks she has paid the ultimate price to secure Karan's freedom. She thinks the deal is done.
But it's not.
Not even close. 𝐀𝐁𝐿 shares her true, deeper plan with Seema. She says she intends to, quote, snatch my grandson from her as soon as he is born.
So Ceylan will never even see his face?
Never. Ceylan believes she is saving the father, but she is unknowingly walking directly into a trap where her son will be permanently taken from her. She didn't escape.
She just traded one catastrophe for another.
She traded the immediate, painful disaster of Karan's imprisonment for a delayed, hidden disaster involving her own child. It's just devastating narrative symmetry.
Wow, what an absolute masterclass in narrative cruelty. Okay, so that was merciless blackmail. Now let's shift focus to a different kind of control.
A quieter one, but maybe just as insidious.
Our second story. This is the dynamic between Farid, his Aunt Karaman, and Salim. The transcripts call this sweet poison.
A perfect description, because here the weapon isn't a jail cell. It's an internal, insidious use of guilt and emotional responsibility. Karaman is the manipulator, and she is an expert at playing the frail, suffering matriarch.
Right, she fakes a serious illness, the whole deathbed wish thing.
Essentially, yes. All to force Farid to get engaged to Salim, knowing full well he's in love with Layla.
And her performance is so refined. When Farid resists, she doesn't threaten him.
No, she uses emotional erosion. She asks things like, do you want me to die with a desire? And she even escalates to a full drama of being unconscious when he pushes back too hard.
It's a masterful, predictable pattern. And we have to look at Farid's response to this.
Well, he trusts her. She's been like a mother to him, which makes it almost impossible for him to accept that she could be deceiving him so profoundly.
So the question for us, analyzing this, is whether he's genuinely innocent or is he in denial?
It's a combination, I think. A form of deep psychological denial that's fueled by guilt. Sometimes it's just easier to believe the lie than to admit your trusted parent figure is a predator.
And Celine just makes this whole toxic dynamic even more complicated.
Right. She presents herself as an ally to Farid. She tells him, just go through with the engagement drama until Karaman gets better, and then they can quietly separate.
But the sources confirm that's a lie.
It's a total conspiracy between her and Karaman. It's designed to make the engagement permanent and destroy Farid's relationship with Layla for good.
Okay, but then the power balance suddenly shifts.
It does. When Layla accidentally overhears that crucial conversation.
What does she hear exactly?
She hears Kariman drop the act completely. She says the disease is a drama, confirming the entire deception. And then she promises Celine, as long as my name is Kariman, Farid will not marry anyone but you.
So Layla has the truth, the definitive proof. But Farid's denial, his blind trust, that's still the main obstacle.
It's a brick wall. He still insists to Layla that the engagement is just a game, just to soothe his sick aunt.
But Layla's response is the key to this whole arc. She refuses to play along.
She does. She refuses to accept the engagement, saying, even if this is a game, I cannot accept it. For her, his participation, even with good intentions, is what she calls a murder of trust.
So Farid's actions, which are driven by this desire not to hurt his aunt,
they end up hollowing out the very relationship he's trying to protect. It shows that deception, no matter the intent you think you have, it just poisons the well, every time.
So we've seen love weaponized for revenge with Ceylan and duty weaponized for control with Farid. Our third story, with Mohammed, Mustafa, and Gunja, gives us a third angle.
A different perspective, yeah. This is deception used not for malice, but strategically to gain justice.
This is the strategic counterattack.
It is. It's a narrative turn that asks, how far do you have to bend the rules to actually get fairness?
Yeah.
Muhammad's entire strategy hangs on him faking memory loss.
A calculated fraud.
Right, a fraud to locate the stolen gold that Gunja and Mustafa took.
And his execution of the plan was, well, it was subtle and brilliant. He gets the gold back, hides it in his boot.
And then he intentionally reburies it in a visible spot, making absolutely sure the thieves see him do it.
Which is the genius of the trap. He's predicting their behavior.
Perfectly. As expected, they dig up the gold the second he leaves. Then Muhammad comes back, leads them to the spot, pretends the gold is missing.
And immediately accuses them of stealing it.
And in that same breath, reveals his memory was never gone in the first place.
That moment completely shifts the power dynamic.
Fundamentally. He doesn't get the gold back in his hands right then and there. He makes them take it to their home, but he gets something much more valuable.
Leverage.
Decisive leverage. He now controls them. He threatens to tell everyone about their theft if they don't do what he says.
This story is complicated, though, from a moral standpoint.
It's very complex. Muhammad used fraud, his fake memory loss, to expose their fraud, the theft. The sources note he lost the war, since the gold is still out of his hands.
But he won the battle.
He won the battle, gaining psychological and strategic control. And this arc really demonstrates a cynical, but maybe necessary, truth in the Kuma universe.
Which is what?
That sometimes injustice can't be fought while you're, strictly sticking to the high moral ground. Cunning has to be answered with cunning.
So if we bring all three of these narratives together now, Ceylan's sacrifice, Farid's manipulation, Muhammad's calculated deception, what's the connecting thread that defines this entire episode?
I think it's the shocking realization that family relations and these deep emotional bonds, the very things that should be a source of strength and protection for these characters,
They're turned into their greatest weakness.
their Achilles heel, and a consistent, as the notes say, cause of humiliation or heartache.
We see this poisonous love illustrated over and over, just in different forms. Kadra Khanum weaponizes her love for her dead son to ruin the life of her living son, Karan.
Justifying emotional terrorism as a form of salvation. It's wild.
And Karaman uses her nephew's worry, his genuine love for her, as a rope to tie him down and control his future.
The weapon isn't hate, it's devotion.
These stories, when you look at them all together, they reveal a really bitter and profound truth. The deepest wound and the biggest deception comes from those people whom we trust blindly.
Every single one of these core characters is pushed toward destruction because the people they rely on, the people they have to believe, are the architects of their heartbreak.
Love, duty, responsibility. They're meticulously weaponized by the writer.
They are, all to push these characters toward destruction and heartbreak. It shows us how terrifyingly easy it is for genuine devotion to sort of curdle, to become a tool for emotional control.
A truly poisonous domestication of the human spirit.
That's a great way to put it.
It's a study in manipulation and impossible choices that leaves us haunted. 𝐀𝐿an makes the ultimate sacrifice. She walks away, leaves her whole life behind.
Believing with absolute certainty that she's saving Karan from prison, that she's securing a future where their child will at least have a father.
But we, the viewer, with all the information from the transcripts, we know the tragic truth.
We know 𝐀𝐁𝐎𝐿's real plan, to snatch that newborn the moment it's born.
Right. So 𝐀𝐿an's sacrifice, which was meant to be final and complete, it only avoids the immediate catastrophe.
And that brings us to the final necessary thought for you to carry forward from this.
The moment where the short-term rescue meets the long-term disaster.
Exactly. Given that 𝐀𝐿an's action nearly delays her family's ruin and sets her up for the most painful separation imaginable, losing her child forever, the real question for you to consider is this.
Go on.
Has 𝐀𝐿an truly saved someone by choosing this path? Or has she merely avoided one version of disaster, only to trade it for a different, hidden, and perhaps even more fundamentally painful world in the episodes to come?
For a truly profound question about the nature of sacrifice and whether good intentions can ever overcome absolute calculated evil. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thank you for walking through this complex web of deceit and devotion with us.